Today is all about Ryzen processor with the 3D chiplet technology. This is the fastest consumer CPU in the world.
What if I told you that you've been using your Ryzen CPU the wrong way? And frankly, it's costing you 3 frames. You paid for the whole chip, so why are you leaving performance locked away? Today, we're unlocking everything AMD left on the table. Welcome back to Nexify. So, we all know that AMD has been absolutely crushing the gaming field. Those 6 3D chips with extra L3 cache, they're not just a marketing gimmick. They deliver the smoothest 1% loads money can buy. Even the non-X3D chips are trading blows with Intel's flagship CPUs. That's how strong the current Ryzen lineup actually is. But here's the problem. Most people just enable EXPO, boot into Windows, download the chipset driver and think they're done. Well, big mistake. You're leaving performance on the table, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to take it back. To unleash every single bit of potential out of your chip, you need to understand the holy trinity of Ryzen CPUs: low latency memory, low temps, and PBO. The biggest gains start with your memory. Everyone says the sweet spot for AM5 platform is DDR5 at 6000 megatransfers with low cache latency. And sure, that's good, but is it optimal? Absolutely not. To understand why, let's have a look at the chip itself. A Ryzen CPU has 2 main parts. First, the CCDs. That's the cores running your games and applications. Second, the I/O die. It handles communication between the CCDs, memory, and peripherals. Inside that I/O die, we have to balance the speeds of the Infinity Fabric and the memory controller. For AM5, you usually run DDR5 in Gear 1, which means the memory controller matches your RAM speed perfectly, while the F clock is running at 2/3 of the U clock speed. This is the golden ratio of 2 to 3 to 3, and it works great for DDR5 running at 6000 to 6400 megatransfers. If you have absolutely no clue what you're doing, you can try motherboard presets like MSI's memory triads. I'll usually select the one with the lowest cache latency at my target speed. If you fail to boot, just drop down to the next tightest timing. By the way, make sure you enable high efficiency mode and latency killer in your BIOS. Having those enabled can further improve memory performance. But what if we want to break the limits, to go even further? Right now we're switching to Gear 2. For DDR5 in Gear 2, the ideal ratio changes to 1 to 1 to 2. This lets you push your DDR5 to 8000 megatransfers per second or even higher using those BIOS presets. Engineers have done most of the work for you. All you need to do is click a button. But here's the catch. Do not touch Gear 2 if you're using a Zen 4 CPU or your RAM can't hit at least 8000 megatransfers. If you run Gear 2 at lower speeds, the Infinity Fabric slows down too much and you actually lose FPS. It's 8000 or nothing. But if you can hit it, you get higher memory bandwidth and surprisingly, even lower overall latency than the standard Gear 1 setup. That sounds different from what everyone has told you. Running in Gear 2 does not mean you gave up latency. In fact, you're optimizing it. Now that memory is good to go, let's talk about Precision Boost Overdrive, also known as PBO. Many users left this overclocking tool on auto, which is such a shame because PBO can bring massive gains with almost zero effort. You can find the PBO settings under the overclocking tab. There's a few options under PBO and make sure you select Advanced. After that, set the PBO limit to motherboard and your mobile will do the job for you. Under that is the PBO scaler. Change it from auto to manual and you can select from 1x to 10x. Think of this as aggressive boosting behavior. The higher the number, the more aggressive it goes, but your CPU cooling has to be better as well. If you're using an AIO or top tier air cooler, just send it to 10x. Only stick to 1x if you have a cramped ITX build or your case has zero airflow. Next is the Max Boost Clock Override. Here you can increase the maximum CPU clock speed by enabling the positive mode. For CPUs with lower frequencies, such as the 9800X3D, just crank it by 200 MHz. While for other Zen 5 chips, I would play it safe at 100 MHz for stability. Finally, we undervolt the CPU using the curve optimizer. Usually a negative offset of 20 to 30 is the sweet spot. Why? Because the CPU requires less voltage to run, and less voltage means less heat. Lower temps allow the CPU clock to boost higher and longer. It's literally free performance. Although undervolting can reduce a bit of heat from the CPU, you still need to have a good CPU cooler. Ryzen chips are efficient, but thermally dense. They have much higher thermal density design than Intel's Core Ultra series because of their CCD chiplet design. All the heat is concentrated in a tiny silicon die, making it difficult to transfer that heat to the cooler. Plus, AMD increased the thickness of AM5 CPU lids in order to keep old AM4 coolers compatible. I mean, it's great for your wallet, but bad for the thermals. That extra layer of metal simply acts like a heat blanket. The heat just gets trapped inside the CPU. Besides, the PBU algorithm is heavily related to the CPU temperature. The hotter the CPU is, the slower it runs. If you're hitting 70 degrees Celsius, the chip starts throttling its max boost. For X3D CPUs, that all hits even earlier at 60 degrees. So, if you want the most performance out of your chip, don't cheap out on the cooling. Ryzen chips run faster where you treat them better. Finally, let's see the performance gap between different memory speeds and PBU settings in Counter-Strike 2. I'll be using the 9950 X3D for the benchmarks, and honestly, the results are wild. DDR5 running at 8000 megatransfers without curve optimizer actually tied with 6000 megatransfers with curve optimizer. This proves RAM speeds also affect your FPS in games, and you have probably overlooked their importance. PBU settings and RAM speeds are equally important for boosting your frames. Keep in mind that I was using an X3D chip here, which cares less about memory speeds. I can't imagine how much gain you'll get with a standard non-X3D chip. So, if you've been running your CPU out of the box, thinking that it works, it's fine, well, you're not wrong, but you're leaving free performance on the table. It only takes a few tweaks to unlock the hardware performance you already paid for. AMD gave us the tools, it's up to us to actually use them. If you want me to do a full, step-by-step guide on stabilizing DDR5 memory above 8000 megatransfers or fine-tuning PBO, drop a comment below and let me know. And if this helped you squeeze a few more frames out of your rig, make sure to drop a like. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you enjoyed my content, and I'll see you in the next one. Nexify out.